Undertaker, you got the Nation Boy at WrestleMania.
These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
Hey there, I'm Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and today joining me is none other than wrestling manager, the Wicked Nemesis. And we're tasked with taking a look back at The Undertaker vs. Ric Flair at WrestleMania 18. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, WrestleMania X8. Man, WWE, you're trying so hard to look young that it's only emphasizing how old you truly are.
I am the Oracle of Ominous, the architect of intellect, the necessary evil, the wicked nemesis, aka Enoch Tessarian, and you are watching the Social Injustice Warrior with V Infuso.
And I know I'm sure excited for this match because, truth be told, little known fact about me, I love reunions. But I just don't think that these two are going to hug it out. At least not yet. That comes later.
V, I didn't know how strongly you felt about this match. Wow. Taking me by surprise here.
The feud between the two began when Ric Flair, the half-owner of the WWF, came to The Rock's aid in a match with The Undertaker, causing the dead man to challenge the Nature Boy to a match at WrestleMania, an offer that the elder Flair declined. In an effort to change his boss's mind, Taker went after Flair's loved ones, including longtime best friend and tag team partner Arn Anderson, and his own son, David Flair. Luckily, Flair accepted after his son's beatdown, before Undertaker could put the beating on the genetically superior Charlotte. Flair attributes this rivalry to being what woke him up out of his autopilot mode. And you know what? It really shows. The older Rick really did bring his A-game. And we're not just talking to the show of shows, but to this particular storyline in general. He was fired up in ways that we just hadn't seen in the past few years.
Ric Flair accepted this match during an impassionate promo.
You got the Nation Boy at WrestleMania.
Flair had to give up his co-ownership to be a part of this match.
And wait a second, is that Ted Cruz? No one told me the Zodiac Killer was in WWE. And wow, it's both weird and kind of awesome watching this. I mean, just look at it. The big badass biker gets his ass beaten by an old man in a business suit. And the big guy's actually really selling it. It's a pretty powerful visual. The match would eventually become a no disqualification match once Vince McMahon regained control of the company. Meaning no rules, anything goes. Taker could bring an ice pick with him to the ring and technically nobody could stop him. And he looks like the type of guy who would carry one on him anyway. Taker enters first, driving around the ring with his bike to the tune of Limp Bizkit's Rollin'. And wow, how far we've come. From zombie walking to the ring, to driving down the ramp, to the sweet sounds of Fred Durst. Ric Flair enters the stadium to his famous 2001 Space Odyssey theme, but doesn't stop to pose or strut as he's typically known to do. No, instead he sells intensity, keeping his eyes dead set on his opponent as he begins to run to the ring to attack him. Flair enters the ring, immediately bringing the fight to the American Badass before the bell even rings. The two wind up hopping over the announce desk, with Flair delivering right hands to the delight of the audience. The two get back in the ring, where Flair continues to stay on the offensive, knocking Taker back to the outside. And continuing on his hot streak, Flair takes a gamble that just doesn't pay off. Which wouldn't be the first, nor the last time, that a Ric Flair gamble didn't pay off.
This was Taker's chance to go into double digits. If he won this, he would be 10-0. If Flair wins this match, it puts him back at the top of the game.
Undertaker begins to make a comeback, leading one really cringy fan to call him by his name.
What a mark.
And you just know that kid only just got access to an internet. Flair shows that this old dog still has a few tricks left in him, backing Big Evil into a corner and delivering rights and lefts. However, his luck doesn't last as Taker grabs him and slams him back into the corner, dishing out rights and lefts of his own. The biker overpowers Flair, manhandling him back to the outside once again. And it's at this point I realize that The Undertaker's bleeding out, thus proving how human he's become. Because dead men don't bleed. Little known fact. You're welcome. It's science. Subscribe.
And can anybody tell me how in the hell did The Undertaker get busted open? On his cheek.
I actually can't figure out what spot caused this, but it really does add to the brutality these two are putting each other through.
And there will be blood. And let me tell you, there was blood.
Taker beats the holy hell out of Nate outside the ring, busting him wide open. He rolls the man in red, in more ways than one, back into the ring, where the onslaught continues. The blood continues to overtake the face of the Nature Boy, turning his face into a crimson mask, as Jim Ross would say. And does say. The blood even splatters on a nearby camera.
How does Taker like his steaks? Bloody. How does Taker like his Ric Flair? Bloody.
And yet, still, he manages to fight back, only to time after time be overtaken by the Undertaker. See what I did there? Because over, under, take. You get it. You got it. You guys are smart. I also want to point out how great the commentary was on this match. The team of Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler in their prime is the face-heel commentary team we'd all come to know and love. Throughout the match, Lawler downplays the extent of Flair's injuries, treating his gash as a paper cut, and talking up the Undertaker's toughness for wrestling with that small scrape on his cheek. And honestly, it's perfect.
Undertaker, he's got a scrape on his cheek. A scrape? Flair is bleeding like a stuck pig.
Oh, look at the Undertaker. He's bleeding. You don't ask the referee to stop it there, do you? That's a nasty gash on the face of the Undertaker. That's going to need several stitches. If you had that scrape, JR, you'd be in intensive care right now.
Delivering one hell of a superplex. You know, call me crazy, but something tells me it was Flair who worked that into the match. You know, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's the fact that Undertaker's never really done that before, or that Ric Flair has had that spot done to him in every single match that he's in. But it's one of them, one or the other. Taker pins Flair, but still intent on doing damage, he instead breaks him out of the pin to continue to inflict more pain. Or as Jerry Lawler says,
Sportsman in the competition, the heart of a competitor, he gave Flair another chance.
In a vulgar display of dominance, Deadman Inc. continues to bloody up the recently returned legend. Flair continues to fight, eventually gaining the upper hand when the biker goes for Old School.
Flair countering Old School. Not many times has this happened, not many times it's happened at WrestleMania.
The biker goes for Old School, but Rick reminds him that he's the very definition of Old School. But it doesn't last long. Taker heads to the outside where he attempts to grab the same steel pipe he'd attempted to grab when facing The Rock. And much like that match, Rick manages to stop him using the pipe himself. A few times. Taker manages to wrestle the pipe away from Flair, and it's a lot less sexual than it sounds. Flair grabs a sign from the ramp and begins hitting the Undertaker with it, leading him back into the ring, and just as he's about to flare up... Oh, I could have wrote that better. That doesn't sound good. Call your doctor. Taker goes for a chokeslam, only to be low-blowed by the dirtiest player in the game. Rick locks in his patented figure 4 leg lock, a move that only those related to him, and The Miz from time to time, are allowed to do. But the Undertaker retaliates again, managing to somehow reverse it into a chokeslam. How is that even possible? I don't know, but wrestling. Taker pins Flair, but miraculously he kicks out. He delivers some rough rights again and attempts to pin him once more. But he kicks out a second time. And wait a second, that's referee Charles Robinson, also known as Little Nate. Clearly, this match is corrupted. He's definitely in Ric Flair's pocket. Well, actually, no. But the Undertaker's not taking any chances anyway.
Taker, what did Little Nate ever do to you?
Booger Red, as Jim Ross thought to call him, grabs the lead pipe, but Flair fights him off.
Arn Anderson comes out, spinebuster. From out of nowhere? A one-armed man does a better spinebuster than half of this wrestling industry. How does Taker like his Arn Anderson? Bloody. That spinebuster, though.
Taker takes his rage out on Anderson, which only allows Flair to get some chair shots in on him. The dead man bounces off the ropes, managing to get in a big boot, before struggling to try and hit his last ride.
Taker went to put the last ride on Flair. Flair couldn't get up. They said it was because he was gassed.
Instead, just opting to hit a devastating tombstone piledriver for the win, bringing his streak to 10-0.
With Flair putting everything aside, he just didn't have enough.
And what better way to celebrate than to assault the ring official?
V, I don't know about you, but that match was a match. But Flair was above 50 and still putting on matches. Man, that guy just can't leave well enough alone. Once again, Flair in a main event match, but not on the main event. And yes, he did bleed. Little Nate, the referee. Ric Flair's gonna bleed. Taker bled. Arn Anderson bled. Undertaker, a little bit past his prime at this time. However, who would have thought 16 more years? And once again, can we talk about Arn Anderson's Spinebuster?
And while I do like the match, its end made little to no sense. This was a much more human Undertaker. His gimmick wasn't to no-sell everything like it once had been. So coming back from those last couple chair shots so soon and so easily just really comes off a bit rushed, if anything. But it doesn't kill the performance. The match is similar to the match from the year before. It's an all-out brawl and seems much more like a fight than it does a wrestling match.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, just look at Brock Lesnar. Every one of his matches look like a fight. Stone Cold Steve Austin, almost every one of his matches looked like an actual fight.
You know, V, when you really sit and think about it, Paul Lee fucking sucks.
Regardless, it might not make the top 5 of Undertaker's best performances at WrestleMania, but it definitely is somewhere in there at the top 10.
For all the V-tards out there that don't know who I am, even though I gave you this lengthy thing at the beginning, I'm a nobody, but I really like this match. This match, wow. Arn Anderson really brought it in this match. So did Little Nate. V, it's so great to be on this channel. You've done so much for wrestling. Good to see you back in this genre. Until the next cat person pisses on the side of the road. V, I'm so happy to be on this channel with such videos that you have as the Degrassi reunion. I started from the bottom! V, huge fan. Huge fan. However, can we have less Enzo Amore videos? That shit's getting out of hand.
So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole and you too want to become a V-tard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free $1 to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that $1, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
The V-tart, oh.
You ever think about how a starfish looks when it's on the outside? Yeah. It's the girl in the 3rd row. Seat 12. Row 8. I think I know her.